Greetings, friends, and welcome to my Vinyl 2021 tag. Vinyl tag 2021. I was thinking about whether or not to do this. My internet had been acting up a lot lately. It finally seemed to come back online, so I took the opportunity to record something now. So what better thing to record than the vinyl tag? So before it starts screwing up on me again, let's get right into it because I don't want to have to do this more than once. Okay, 20 questions. And I'm going to warn you now, some of them I'm just not going to have anything for because my record collection are records that I all love and enjoy. Some of these questions are asking of things that I don't enjoy, so I won't have anything for it. I'll explain when I get to it. Don't worry, it'll make sense when you see it. Okay, question number 1. 2020 discovery. Well, that's simple. In 2020, during the quarantine situation, I discovered a fantastic band called Days Between Stations. Boom, there's the cover. They put out an album this year called Giants. They've put out a couple of records beforehand. Amazing prog stuff. It was my number one record of 2020, Giants. It was produced by Mr. Billy Sherwood, who I had on my own record, the Project Gemini album, Book 2, in the year 3073, Book 2. He played bass on a track of mine. I love Yes, so obviously it was a great joy to have him on it. But Days Between Stations came out in September of 2020. The album is called Giant. That was my 2020 discovery. Next, a quarantine buy. When the first quarantine hit, I'm just going to move this out of the way. When the first quarantine hit, early on in the year, after it had loosened the reins and people could start going out again and shopping, the first thing that I bought during that whole quarantine time was this. Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets, live at the Roundhouse. This is a live record in which they perform Pink Floyd songs from everything before Dark Side of the Moon. So it's a lot of the early stuff, a lot of the first album stuff. I absolutely love this record. It was in my top records of the year for 2020. Amazing recording, fantastic performances. If you don't own this album, you should definitely go and buy it, especially if you like Pink Floyd. That is my quarantine buy. Let's see how I was going to start doing this. Put them down here. Okay. What's next? 2021 album you want to find. Okay. So let me explain this. In 2021, there's a few albums that are coming out on vinyl, and that's how I kind of approached this question. I want to find this album in 2021 on vinyl. Good news is I just heard that they're starting the pre-order for the vinyl for this album now, and that is the album, this is Moonscape, and the album is called, so I don't get it wrong here, Entity Chapter 2, Echoes from a Cognitive Dystopia. It's a fantastic record, done by my friend Havard Lund and a bunch of guest musicians. In fact, one of the guest musicians on there is me. I'm doing a guitar solo on one of the songs. Yeah, you can see, I don't know if you even want to care or not, but at the bottom there, right where my finger is there, it says Mark Anthony K, lead guitars. That's me. And that was on, yeah, it doesn't say what song it's on, but yeah, I did the guitar solos on one of the songs on this record. So I'm looking forward to getting the vinyl of this because it's a great record. If you like sort of heavy, progressive, more along the death metal end of things, you will really, really like this record. Okay. Next, box set. Well, I have quite a lot of box sets, tons of box sets actually. I was thinking about showing the Frank Zappa Hot Rats Sessions one, but I decided to show you one of my King Crimson box sets. This is the box set for In the Court of the Crimson King. This came out years back. This is not the new one that came out. This is kind of the original one that came out when they first started doing these box sets. It's a couple of discs and a DVD. Really cool. You get some buttons in here too. There's a really fantastic booklet in here. I don't want to take up too much time with this stuff. There's like photographs here and stuff like that. This video would be like 40 minutes long if I go through all of this stuff. But just so you know, there's a disc 1 is a 2009 stereo mix. Disc 2 is the original masters. Disc 3 is the alternate album versions where there's instrumentals and various run-throughs. CD 4 is a live performance from 1969. CD 5 is the original Atlantic recording issued US radio promos. And the DVD is like a 5.1 mix and a bunch of different versions, including there's a video on here of 21st Century Schizoid Man on here. So really cool. If you don't own this box set, you're probably out of luck because this one is out of print now. Okay, concept album. Well, being a progressive guy and a guy who likes metal and stuff like that, so it's relatively easy. I picked this album because to me, and I'm curious to see people's reaction when I say this, but to me, this is my generation's Pink Floyd The Wall. I know The Wall came out in 79, so it's not like it's that of a stretch for me to like it, because I was born in the 70s as well. But for me, when I was in my 19 years old era, this was a hot album, and it's probably one of the best concept records, period, in my opinion, and that is Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. This is a reissue, as you see there, from the Capitol Vaults, 180 gram reissue. To be honest with you, I wasn't overly impressed with this pressing. I think they could have did better sound-wise on it, but it's not bad. Overall, this record always had a sort of shaky mix, in my opinion. It always had a kind of really odd mid-range on this record. But overall, the songs are good, the guitar playing is amazing, and the story is just really, really good. I mean, Bruce Dickinson said that when they did Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and then he heard this, he was actually kind of ashamed of Seventh Son. So put that in your hat and think about that. Put that in your hat. Let me rephrase that. Think about that. Bruce Dickinson said that record was basically head and shoulders above Seventh Son. Okay, next one. Artist that changed direction. Well, this one is another easy one. And people who know me from my podcasts, I do a Yes podcast, I do a Kiss podcast. So this immediately jumped into my head, and that is Kiss the Elder. You want to listen to a record that literally sunk a band? Right here. Kiss was a very popular band, even as far as like I'd even say 1980, even Unmasked, they were pretty still happening. But when they released this record, this was their attempt at making a sort of concept album, very proggy, lots of strings and, acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And they literally wanted to have the press be impressed with them as musicians, and it just didn't work. Everybody hated it, including their fans. I don't mind it too much, though, to be honest. Okay, White Label. This is A Live Mother for Ya, which has Billy Cobham, Steve Kahn, Alfonso Johnson, and Tom Scott. When I first discovered this record, I was literally blown away from this. This is some fantastic performances, some great fusion playing, in my opinion. It is a White Label, just to show you. As you can see on the bottom there is a, one of those bands on the front there. And it is a gold stamp on the back here. Just give me 1 second, I'll show you that in a minute. But this is a White Label. There you go. White Label promo. Sounds really, really good. Has some fantastic performances on it, and I don't know if you can see that there. There's a gold stamp on the top. Yeah, great record. Has some really good performances of songs that these musicians are probably well known for. Let me see just really quickly here. Yeah, like it has a Bahama Mama, some Punk Funk, Spindrift, Magic Carpet Ride. It's songs that these musicians are known for or are attached to. So they performed them as a group, and it's a really, really fantastic performance. Okay. Next, compilation album. Again, I could have picked very many different ones. I decided to pick this Japanese pressing of David Bowie, The Golden Years. This is a sort of interesting compilation album, because it has not the more common stuff, like it has Golden Years, Joe the Lion, Scary Monsters, Super Creeps. It has Wild as the Wind. So it's not exactly like, songs like Space Oddity and stuff like that. This is songs that are more, I guess, popular amongst his fan base more than the general public. So that's why I kind of like this one. Okay, album that tells a story. Well, me who loves Rush, I could have only thought of one record really, and that's 2112. That is one of the best albums as far as a story goes. Yeah, people are going to say, but it's only one side. Well, you know what? Still, their one side of storytelling is much better than most bands' double side of music for that kind of concept. This is a anthem reissue. I really like this sounding one. This one was done at the Lacquer Channel. It was cut at the Lacquer Channel, and the funny thing is, side A was cut at the Lacquer Channel, side B was cut at McClare Sound in Toronto. So it was two different stampers that they used for this record, which is really interesting. That's not very common that happens. Okay, albums that need a vinyl pressing. Okay, I'm going to show this album here, and this is Joe Bailey's album from, actually it's his last album that he just put out. The name is kind of, the name is not entering my mind. I'll put it down here, the name of the album. But this album needs a vinyl release, like desperately. Like, his albums are really, really good, Joe Bailey. I'm not just saying that because he works with me in a band called The Dark Monarchy, but I loved his music before we even started working together and becoming friends. So he desperately needs to get this stuff put on vinyl. So that's one that I highly recommend to get done. Okay, a common and uncommon album. Well, this is as common as it gets. Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. This is my early Canadian pressing on Harvest. I don't have the poster and all that, but it's a great sounding record. Mastered by Wally. So all you people who know Dead Wax and stuff like that will know what I'm talking about. An uncommon record. This is as uncommon as it comes. Rick Wakeman's Rock and Roll Prophet. This is a stinker of a record, and why do I have it? Because I'm a Rick Wakeman fan and a collector of his records on vinyl. So of course I had to get this to complete my, to get close to completing my vinyl collection of it. This record is really bad. I don't recommend it unless you're like me who need to, have everything from this man. Songs like I'm So Straight, I'm a Weirdo, The Dragon, Dark, Maybe 80, Early Warning, Spy of 55, Do You Believe in Fairies, and Rock and Roll Prophet. This album really sucks. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, I love you, Rick, but this album is terrible. I don't know why you released this record. The world could have survived without it, to be quite honest. And hey, I'm not trying to be hard on the guy, excuse me, but if you go to his website, rwcc.com, and you go to his discography, he talks a little bit about each of his records. He even says himself that record sucks. So I'm not just saying that. Okay, an EP. I don't have too many EPs, but this I do have, and this is the EP. The Beatles, Twist and Shout. It's a mono, and this is actually a British version of it, actually. This is a British pressing. So it is one of my more, I'm not going to say it's like a massively valuable piece or anything, but it is one of my more prized possessions from my Beatle collection. So yeah, of course now I can't put this back in, so give me 1 second. I don't want to ruin it. These jackets are very, very delicate. Okay, there you go. So yeah, so mono pressing of the Beatles' Twist and Shout. It has on a Twist and Shout and The Taste of Honey on side 1, and side 2 it has Do You Want to Know a Secret and There's a Place. So that technically makes it an EP, and it even says right on my finger is 45 extended play. Okay, girl group. Now remember I was telling you before that some things I don't have? I don't have a single album that would be a girl group band. I don't know, like, I don't want to get egged here for saying this, but I just was never into girl bands. I don't know why. It's not that I don't like them or I think they're bad or I'm being sexist or anything like that. I just never had any kind of girl band stuff in my collection. I don't listen to it. I mean, I rarely listen to female singers, to be quite honest with you. So I have nothing to show for that. Album cover that you love. Very simple for me. And I feel a sneeze coming on. It's, yeah. Excuse me. Holy shit. It's Yes, Tales from Topographic Oceans. In my opinion, probably one of the best album covers of all time. And I think it was actually voted by Rolling Stone or one of these magazines as the best album cover. And I feel another sneeze coming. Whew. Yeah, so this is, of course, Roger Dean doing the artwork. I remember as a younger guy, when I first got this record, I would sit for hours on the floor listening to this album. It is a double record, 20-minute songs on each side, so it's a very long record, and I would just get lost in this cover. So, fantastic album cover. Okay, next. An album that you played the most. Honestly, I played this album a lot. And not only did I play it on vinyl a lot, but I had it on CD, and I even put it on my iPod. I listened to this record a lot. I don't know what it is about this record. Well, I do know what it is. I'll just show you what it is first. It's David Bowie Live, Santa Monica, 1972. I mean, look at this song list. You know, Ziggy Stardust Changes, Superman Life on Mars, 5 Years, Space Oddity, The Width of a Circle, that's a great performance of that, Queen Bitch, Waiting for the Man, Gene Genie, Suffragette City, Rock and Roll Suicide. I'm a big Mick Ronson fan on guitar, and this is probably one of his best performances on record, for sure. So if you don't have this either on CD or on vinyl, you can probably still find this on vinyl. It's getting very expensive to get now, I have to admit. So I'm very happy I got this copy. And yeah, if you like Bowie, get it. If you like the more rock stuff, the more, like, you know, the crunchy guitar stuff, that's the one you want to get. Okay. Album you need to get an original copy of. Well, I love this record, and that's Marillion, Clutching at Straws. This is a Canadian first pressing, I believe. I think it's a Canadian first pressing, but I want to get an original first UK pressing, because as anybody knows, if you want Marillion stuff or Yes stuff or Bowie stuff, you want to get the UK pressings, because those are always the ones that sound the best, because they're the pressings from their native country, and that's always something that seems to be very true. Get the album from the country that the band is from, and you'll get the best pressings. I really do believe that. So yeah, Marillion, this is a Canadian pressing of it, so I want to get the UK one. That's going to be one of the things I'm going to get this year in 2021. Okay. Last album you purchased. This is the last album I purchased. It was actually it was right before Christmas I purchased this. Yes, another Bowie, whatever. I love David Bowie. David Bowie, I'm Only Dancing, the Soul Tour 1974. This is a Record Store Day release. When it first came out, I wasn't able to go to Record Store Day, obviously. Everything was shut down. And when I looked online on Discogs to buy it, people were already gouging like crazy for this record. They were like asking for well into the hundreds, like almost $200 for a sealed copy. So I said, forget that. And I ended up finding in my record store, my good friend's record store, Rick's Recollections, he had one more copy of this, and for a reasonable price, which was like 45 bucks, I think, or something that I got it for. So thank you, Rick. And I love this record. It's a good record. But David Bowie's voice is very horsed out on this album. Okay. Now, these next two are going to be the big strike. An album you don't get. I'm sorry to say, but every record that I have, I get. That's what I'm saying. I don't really do very many blind buys for some reason. So there's nothing that I've bought and I went, oh God, this is terrible. Well, maybe that Rick Wakeman one, but I knew what I was getting into when I bought that, so I can't really say that. So I get everything that I have, so skip that. Punk album. And I know I'm going to get slack for this. I don't have a punk album. I don't have Sex Pistols. I don't have the Ramones. I really wasn't into that stuff because when I was growing up, I was into bands like Dream Theater and stuff like that. And there was a big sort of revolt amongst guitar players back then because the bands like, the Ramones and Soundgarden and all that were saying, they would always frown on people like John Petrucci who were like really great shredders and saying that, that stuff was crap and that, you don't need to be a great guitar player to be good in the music business, which is true to a point, I guess. But that kind of turned me off on punk music and stuff like that, so I never got into it at all. So I have no punk albums, so sorry, that's going to be another me for me. Favorite reissue of 2020. This is the last one, and this was simple. When this came out, I had to buy it. I didn't buy the other reissues of this, like from this band. This is the 40th anniversary release of Rush, Permanent Waves. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. So of course I had to get it. It's the reissue of the album, plus there is a fantastic double, I think 2 or 3 record live album from that time period when they toured this record. Yeah, and that was a Permanent Waves tour 1980. Yeah, so absolutely fantastic record. If you don't own this, you should get it. Better to get it now than later because it will get very expensive the longer you wait. So that's it. That's all 20. And I hope you enjoyed my selections. Yeah, I did have a lot of repeat artists, but like I said, I buy things that I enjoy and I like listening to, and I don't do blind buys. That's just how I am. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing your vinyl tags, and leave a comment. Okay, take care. Bye.